Have you ever felt like you don't belong? Like you're just a mistake in a world full of brilliant, shining people? That's exactly how Ari felt. Her story begins not on solid ground, but high above the clouds, at the legendary Starlace Academy. Imagine a school floating in the endless sky, a place made of moonlight and woven dreams, where students don't just study stars, they learn to weave their light into pure magic. The academy is a breathtaking sight. Towers of polished obsidian spiral towards the heavens, connected by bridges of shimmering starlight. The classrooms are vast domes of crystal, where constellations swirl overhead, not as distant points of light, but as living, breathing entities. Students here are the best of the best, chosen for their innate ability to command the cosmic energies. They can conjure fiery comets with a flick of the wrist, mend broken objects with threads of moonlight, or whisper to distant stars to learn their secrets. It's a place of wonder, power, and dazzling displays of talent. Then there's Ari, quiet, unassuming Ari, who loves the stars more than anything. She doesn't dream of wielding them like a weapon, but of listening to their ancient, silent songs. She spends her nights just gazing at the celestial tapestry, feeling a deep, unexplainable connection to the cosmos. While others saw power, she felt a presence, a gentle hum that resonated deep within her soul. She never expected to be chosen for Starlace. In fact, she was sure her application was a lost cause. She had no visible powers, no spark of raw magic that everyone else seemed to possess. So, you can imagine her shock when the acceptance letter arrived, carried by a tiny, star-winged messenger. It had to be a mistake. A clerical error, a cosmic joke. Her parents, simple folk from a quiet village below, were overjoyed, but Ari was terrified. Stepping onto the floating island of Starlace felt like stepping into a world where she was an imposter. The first few weeks were even harder than she'd imagined. In the weaving hall, other students would pull down threads of starlight, braiding them into intricate, glowing spells. One student created a tiny, fluttering bird of pure Andromeda light. Another conjured a shield of pulsating energy from the heart of a nearby nebula. Their magic was loud, vibrant, and spectacular, and Ari? Ari could only stand there, her hands outstretched, feeling the gentle warmth of the starlight, the soft thrum of its energy. She could feel it so intensely, but she couldn't command it. When she tried to weave, the threads would simply pass through her fingers like smoke. Her classmates weren't cruel, but they were confused. They'd watch her tilting their heads. "What are you doing?" they'd ask, jest. Feeling, she'd whisper back, her face burning with embarrassment. The teachers were patient but perplexed. Her affinity for the stars was off the charts, higher than anyone they had ever seen. The cosmic energies were drawn to her, yet she couldn't seem to do anything with them. They ran test after test, but the results were always the same: immense potential, zero output. Ari became known as the listener, the girl who could feel the music of the spheres but couldn't play a single note. The feeling of being a mistake grew heavier each day. She found solace in the academy's highest observatory, a quiet place few students bothered to visit. There, alone with the silent, spinning cosmos, she could be herself. She would trace the lines between the stars, not with magic, but with her finger on the cool glass of the dome. She learned their names, their stories, and their secret rhythms. She felt the steady, reassuring pulse of a healthy star system and the faint, troubled tremor of one in distress. She couldn't explain how she knew, she just did. It was a language only her heart could understand. One evening, a change began to stir in the cosmic winds. A strange dissonance rippled through the academy. The star bridges flickered, the light in the classrooms dimmed and wavered. A deep, unsettling hum replaced the usual harmonious chime of the floating island. The teachers grew concerned. Out in the void, a storm was brewing. This was no ordinary storm of wind and rain. It was a magical tempest, a maelstrom of chaotic, untamed cosmic energy, and it was heading directly for Starlace Academy. Panic began to set in. The most powerful student mages and teachers gathered on the main deck, preparing to defend their home. They threw up massive shields of woven starlight, hurled blasts of focused energy to push the storm back. But it was no use. The storm was a roaring beast of raw chaos. For every spell they cast, the storm seemed to grow stronger, feeding on the very magic they were using against it. The shields began to crack. The star threads that held the academy together started to fray and snap. The school groaned, threatening to break apart and fall from the sky. While everyone else was fighting, Ari was listening. She had rushed to the observatory, her heart pounding not with fear, but with a strange sense of urgency. The storm wasn't just noise to her, it was a symphony of pain. She could feel it all, countless star threads, tangled and broken, lashing out in agony. The storm wasn't an attack, it was a wound in the fabric of the cosmos. The Academy's defensive spells were like prodding a wounded animal, only making it more frantic and dangerous. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. Her gift wasn't about power, it wasn't about command or control. It was about connection, it was about harmony. She wasn't meant to weave new things, she was meant to mend what was broken. Leaving the observatory, she ran to the heart of the storm's fury, to the main deck where the battle was being lost. The teachers shouted for her to get back, to take cover, but Ari didn't stop. She closed her eyes, ignoring the howling winds and chaotic flashes of light, and reached out not with her hands, but with her senses. She let the chaos wash over her. She didn't fight it, she listened. Beneath the screaming rage, she found the source of the pain, a single, ancient star thread that had been severed. It was a primary line, a cosmic artery that connected a whole sector of the sky. Its broken ends were whipping around, tearing other, smaller threads, creating a domino effect of magical chaos. While others saw a monster storm, Ari saw afraid not. With her eyes still closed, she began to move. She didn't pull on the threads of light, instead, she gently guided them. Her fingers moved through the air as if she were a conductor leading an orchestra. She found one broken strand and nudged it towards its other half. She took another tangled thread and, with a gentle hum, encouraged it to straighten. She wasn't using force, she was coaxing, soothing, and balancing. The other students and teachers stopped their assault, staring in disbelief. Where they had failed with all their power, this quiet girl was succeeding with what looked like nothing at all. Ari wasn't casting spells, she was healing the sky. Slowly, painstakingly, she guided the two ends of the great severed artery back towards each other. As they touched, there was no explosion, no grand flash of light. There was only a profound silence, a deep, resonant hum of harmony washed over the academy. The storm didn't just stop, it unraveled. The chaotic energy smoothed out, the tangled threads untwisted, and the roaring winds softened into a gentle cosmic breeze. The darkness receded, revealing the calm, glittering stars once more. The broken star bridges mended themselves. The Academy's light returned, brighter and steadier than before. Ari opened her eyes, breathless. She stood in the center of a perfectly calm, perfectly silent deck. Everyone was staring at her, their mouths open in awe. The headmaster approached, his eyes filled with a new understanding. "Your acceptance was no mistake," he said, his voice full of reverence. "We were looking for weavers of power. But the universe sent us what we truly needed, a mender of harmony." From that day on, Ari was no longer the listener or the mistake. She was Ari, the star mender. She taught everyone that magic wasn't just about strength and spectacle. It was about listening, about understanding, and about maintaining the delicate balance that holds the universe together. She proved that sometimes the quietest gifts are the most powerful of all, and that true strength isn't found in what you can command, but in what you can heal. So if you ever feel like you don't fit in, remember Ari, your unique gift might not be loud or flashy, but it might just be the one thing the world needs to restore its balance. Thanks for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from beyond the stars. See you next time.